Joe Biden promised to nominate the first black female to the Supreme Court. Is that the same Joe Biden who made sure that the first black female to the Supreme Court would not be a conservative named Janice Rogers Brown?
What's interesting is people are looking back in time, and I'll take you back to 2005, actually, where the president
I remember it well. I was at the Department of Justice.
Okay, great. You can weigh in on this. I'll set this up for our viewers. The president being accused of hypocrisy after he filibustered the nomination of Janice Rogers Brown for the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia twice before she was finally approved in 2005 after a 2-year fight. The former California Supreme Court Justice, Judge Brown, was nominated by President George W. Bush and was seen as a potential Supreme Court pick for the 2005 opening, ultimately filled by Justice Samuel Alito.
And in the event that Justice Brown were to be nominated to the Supreme Court, Biden promised to filibuster said nomination.
But I could see a circumstance. For example, if he set up Edith Jones, I can assure you that would be a very, very, very difficult fight, and she probably would be filibustered.
What about Janice Rogers Brown, someone else?
Excuse me, I'm not. By the way, I misspoke. Janice Rogers Brown is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
I misspoke. Thank you for saying
But
that.
wasn't she just confirmed, though? How do you invoke the extraordinary circumstances clause of the agreement of the Gang of 14 for somebody who's just been confirmed?
Because a circuit court of a judge is bound by stare decisis. They don't get to make new law. They have to abide by the, for example,
So what you're saying is the Supreme Court's different than the appellate court.
Ballgame.
Right, okay.
Totally different ballgame.
But Justice Brown was conservative, and therefore Brown ceased being black. But now Joe Biden is at it again.
While I've been studying candidates' backgrounds and writings, I've made no decision except one. The person I will nominate will be someone with extraordinary qualifications, character, experience, and integrity. And that person will be the first black woman ever nominated to the United States Supreme Court. It's long overdue in my view. I made that commitment during the campaign for president, and I will keep that commitment.
What does our current out-of-control inflation look like? Well, it looks like paying 47% more for fuel than a year ago. It looks like paying 41% more for the same used vehicle if you buy it this year instead of last. It looks like paying almost 10% more to feed your family. It looks like every dollar in your savings is worth less than it was a year ago. Hedge against the US dollar by investing in something with real value, gold and silver from Birch Gold. Precious metals have historically been a safe haven in times of inflation, and Birch Gold is the leader in converting IRAs and 401ks into a tax-sheltered IRA backed by silver and gold. With thousands of satisfied customers and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, Birch Gold can help you protect your savings. Just go to birchgold.com/Larry now to get a no-cost, no-obligation info kit. This comprehensive 20-page guide reveals how gold and silver can protect your savings and how you can buy them under the umbrella of a tax-sheltered account. So, do it right now. Go to birchgold.com/Larry. That's BIRCHgold.com/Larry. Now, do you recall the confirmation hearings of John Roberts, the man who became Chief Justice? And he said, "My job is to call balls and strikes."
And I will decide every case based on the record, according to the rule of law, without fear or favor, to the best of my ability. And I will remember that it's my job to call balls and strikes and not to pitch or bat.
So, if I'm a black batter, do I need a black umpire to call balls and strikes? If I'm a black pitcher, do I need a black umpire to call balls and strikes? If I'm a Latin pitcher, do I need a Latin umpire to call balls and strikes? If I'm a Latin batter, do I need a Latin umpire to call balls and strikes? All I know is this: the person who called me the black face of white supremacy was not a white male. Among other things, this black female columnist with the LA Times said, Larry Elder smiled the smug smile of a black conservative who could very well be liberal California's next governor. Smug smile. It's called My Face. I got it from my parents. Rising crime is because of this phony narrative that the police are engaging in systemic racism and cops are pulling back, Elder said. When you reduce the possibility of a bad guy getting caught, getting convicted, and getting incarcerated, guess what? Crime goes up, close quote. She then continues, then another smile, this one even more smug than the last. I'm sorry, it's my face. Not a whole lot I can do about it. This black journalist continues, I won't lie. Few things infuriate me more than watching a black person use willful blindness and cherry-picked facts to make overly simplistic arguments that whitewash the complex problems that come along with being black in America. Is it or is it not true that the number one cause of preventable death for a young white man is accidents, like car accidents or drownings, whereas the number one cause of death, preventable or not, for a young black man is homicide, almost always committed by another young black man? Is it or is it not a fact that a young black man is 8 times more likely to be murdered than a young white man? And almost always that murderer of the young black man is another young black man? Aren't these facts? She quotes a longtime political consultant who says, Larry Elder goes out of his way to be at odds with the leadership in the black community and at odds with the thinking in the black community, close quote. You mean I disagree with the idea that blacks are victims? You mean I disagree with the idea that blacks are victimized by systemic racism? You mean I disagree with the idea that the number one problem facing black people is racism, but the large number of black kids who enter the world without a father married to the mother? Am I allowed to disagree? Recall what the managing editor of the New York Times, Dean Baquet, said?
The history of the New York Times, that whole section was not created just to have columnists and writers who agree with the New York Times. It was created after the fall of the Herald Tribune, and the publisher of the New York Times, the original publisher of the New York Times, wanted some of the conservative columnists who work for the Herald Tribune. So it was created as a forum for different voices. I don't understand how one can actually have an intellectual discourse in this country if you cannot have the opportunity to read thoughtful people with whom you disagree. We're at a moment in the country right now which I think, the left should do some soul searching too, right? We don't want to hear anything that we've long said this about the right, but I think the left, I'm a journalist, but the left as a rule does not want to hear thoughtful disagreement.
This black journalist concludes this very long love letter to Larry Elder with the following, quote, indeed, his candidacy feels personal, like an insult to blackness, end of quote. Well, that's all for today's Larry Elder on YouTube. We're now showing a shorter version of our show on YouTube. That's after being censored and demonetized for a whole year. Full episode can be watched on our website, epictv.com/Larry Elder. That's epictv.com/Larry Elder. You can also find out where to watch our show live on cable in your city at ntd.com/TV. All the links are in the description down below.